Hi bestie, I hope you're doing good. In today's letter, I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about solo dates. If you're listening to this podcast, or if you're watching this video, then it found you at the right time. Whether you've been thinking about going on solo dates, or you actually been on one and didn't like it, or you've never actually got to spend time by yourself, this is the right one for you. And I'm glad that you're reading my letter today because I'm gonna unfold everything about solo dates. And first thing is, what is a solo date? Essentially, a solo date is what the name actually suggests. A date solo. You go out by yourself. And when you think of dates, you think of them in a romantic setting. You're actually putting time, effort, and energy into it. So the first point that I'm going to be talking about is a solo date is still a date. Meaning that the same way you're going to put effort, intention, time, and energy into going on a romantic date, which you think about a week in advance, your hair, your makeup, outfits, is exactly the same way that you have to think about your solo dates. Because in order for it to have a meaning, you need to set an intention for it. So the day before, you need to plan where you're going, where you're gonna eat, what activities are you gonna do, what outfit are you gonna wear, what's the vibe that you're looking for, where you're gonna hang out, and prepare your mindsets and your whole body for it. You need to feel all those emotions, all this excitement to go out, hang out by yourself. And it's so much more meaningful and so beautiful once you actually get to know who you are. And once you befriend yourself, you're gonna find that you're the most interesting person ever. So I want you, the next time you want to go on a solo date, to really put effort and energy into it. Make time in your week or in your month for solo dates. I know you are busy with everything that's going on, whether it's work, school, whatever it is. I want you to put yourself first this once. Because think of it just like a flower or like a little tree that always produces fruits. If we keep just getting fruits from that little tree and never actually water it, once the fruits are done, once we get all the fruits, this tree is never going to produce any more fruits. The same thing with yourself. If you're going to school or going to work and you keep producing outputs, you're gonna burn out and you're gonna be at a point where you can no longer produce anything and you're gonna feel so bad. You're gonna feel like the world is against you and you're shattering. Why? All this because you didn't give yourself a break. All this because you don't know how to actually put time aside for yourself. And this can be looked at from a productivity point. But if you look at it just from a general life point, sometimes you always find yourself in situations where you don't know how to react. You can't understand yourself. You don't really know how to make decisions that go hand in hand with who you are and what's your direction. Maybe you don't even have a passion, which is okay. Maybe you don't have a dream in life. Maybe you're trying to find yourself, but you're lost. And trust me, I've been there. And a little bit of background about how I got into solo dates and how was the first time that I went on a solo date. It wasn't actually by choice. I was just moved out, just came to a different country, the US. It was the pandemic. I was essentially a junior in high school. So at my age, I've always been surrounded with people around me. I am quite a social person, so I've always had a great relationship with other people. And I value friendships a lot. So when I found myself alone, I just had no other option but to go out alone. And to my luck, I was actually at a point, the lowest point of my life, where I actually chose to only rise up because I couldn't go any lower. And I started going out alone. And that's when I first started going on solo dates. And it was a journey. And now I can probably say that I've mastered the art of solo dates. And I actually do crave going on solo dates. And it is an adventure. It is a journey. It is not just a linear path. You're going to go up, you're going to go down, and you're going to start at the lowest point possible. And that goes on to say that the second part of our podcast today is, it is uncomfortable until it is not. The first day I went on a solo date, like not just running errands, not just going out just by myself because I had to go to buy groceries or I had to go to the post office or something like this. I put on an outfit, took my phone, my bag, and took the subway to 9th Street to Washington Park in New York. And I was like, everybody does it. Let me go on a solo date, and there was not enough resources about solo dates. There were quite a few people on the internet romanticizing going on solo dates, so I was like, I could do it. If they can do it, then I could do it too. And I went, and I pushed through. I felt horrible, because at that point, I didn't quite really know who I was. I was still on my self-love journey, or just my self journey in general. So there were so many things that I couldn't get ahead of. And I felt so horrible because there were a couple of inconveniences that day. And I remember I sat there at the park and I took a picture and I was like, I'm gonna come back to the same exact spot on a solo date and I'm gonna enjoy it. And I nearly cried because I was sitting in the park on a beautiful day on a June in New York City, and everyone was having a picnic with their significant others, people with their friends. There was music going on, people selling food, skateboarding. Life was beautiful and everyone around me seemed to enjoy it very well, except me. I was alone. I didn't know what to do, and I sat there looking at everyone looking happy and me with my book trying to romanticize it, and I felt horrible. It felt really bad. But I knew deep down that I'm not gonna just start at the top, but I'm gonna start at the bottom and build my way up. And I'm glad I did, because I can look back and proudly say that I've gone a long way, and now I love my solo days. I love my alone time. I have learned so much more about myself than I've ever could, and I'm the best version of myself right now. And it all starts with a single step that you decide to take. No one else is going to take your hand and tell you this is what you need to do. It's up to you to actually take action and actively pursue your goals. And it doesn't have to be something big. And I advise you to actually start by knowing yourself and starting your self journey, because the more you know about yourself, the more power you hold, and the less people can take away from you, and the less life can take away from you. Because once you have yourself, and once you know who you are and what you like, what's your weaknesses, what's your strengths, then trust me, you've hit the jackpot, okay? The best thing that you could ever do for yourself is to actually give time to yourself and sit down with your thoughts. Sit through the uncomfortable until it is not, okay? Because you're never gonna grow if you're at the same place, you know? And the third thing that you need to know is that a solo date is all you need. If you have been going through a hard time, or if you've felt like you're always exhausted, you don't really know who you are, you're very insecure, you're not confident in yourself, and nothing could fix it, and that all the advice that people give you just don't seem to work, and you feel so alone even when you're surrounded with people, then it's probably your sign that you need a solo date, okay? You need to go out alone. You need to go out alone, you need to speak to people alone, you need to get out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there and feel it. Feel that you are that person, that you are the main character of your life. And trust me, you are your best date. And that's the fourth point of our video. This is why you need alone time. As we grow older, we go through different experiences. We meet different people and we change. We change and we change and we change. And if you don't really sit with yourself and look back at everything that you've done and reflect back on your life and know who you deeply are with everything that you hold as a person, as a human being, as a soul, when I go on solo dates, I feel the most beautiful, the most confident, the most free, and it just makes me feel so good because it recharges my energy. I just feel like we are a white canvas and everybody comes in and like puts on their colors, color after color after color after color. This goes on with like social media, what we consume every day, how we are raised, our society, our thoughts, what we read, who we meet, people's opinions, and all of these can be represented as colors. And the more colors put on this white canvas, the fuller it gets, and it's no longer white, okay? And you lose your own special color. But I want you to have the courage to actually wash off everybody else's colors and start building your own, because you can. You are fully capable of doing so. When you actually go on a solo date and you start learning more things about yourself, then that's where you're gonna start building your personality. That's where you're gonna start building your mindset and your individuality. What sets you aside from other people? What is so unique about you? And you're gonna stop being just a follower of everyone's opinions and what they think and what they like, and you're gonna actually start finding your own things, your own favorite color, your own dream career, your own dream destination, your own strength, your own passion, your own person. I want you to build this, and I want you to find this for you, because if you're always surrounded with people, then there's always a lot of noise. Like, you can never find the silence, and it could be very uncomfortable to actually sit down with our thoughts, because it can be scarier to know who you are deep down underneath your everyday life. Like, we are always so indulged in basic life routines, and we never really sit down to know who we deeply are, to the point where it could get scarier to be real and authentic and accept. It could be hard to admit that you are toxic. It could be hard to admit that you are a bad friend. It could be hard to admit that you are insecure. It could be hard to admit that you have a fear of failure. But how else are you gonna realize that you have all these things unless you actually sit down with yourself and point them out? And that's why a soul date is very important, and that's why you need to really take it seriously, because if you don't, then you're not gonna get anything more from it, you know what I mean? And it's not gonna feel meaningful, and it's not gonna hold value unless you actually get some satisfaction from it. And at first, yes, you might long for having another person around you. You might long for having your best friend or your sibling hang out with you. But then the more you spend time alone, the more you realize that you are amazing. There's so many great things about you that no one have, that no one knows. Like, there's some secret power about knowing who you deeply are, and knowing that the realest, most authentic version of you is the one that you have in your head, and the one that you write for yourself rather than others. Because if you think about it, everyone has different version of you in their head, but the one that you have is the realest one, and it's the fun one, and it's the beautiful one, and it's the best one. And if you want to change it, then go ahead. But then how else are you gonna do it if you actually don't have the courage to go know who you are? And the fifth thing that I want to talk about is romanticize your date. Make it feel magical. Think about yourself like the main character of a movie. Make the streets your runway and the noise of people your music. I want you to feel so confident and so empowered to go out alone, to ask for a table for one, to go to a social place, and people are gonna look around for who you are with, and you're gonna be alone with a smile on your face, with the baddest attitude. I want you to enter that space, whether it's a room, a restaurant, or a bookstore. Heads up, walk straight, feel amazing that you are there alone. You are whole just by yourself, and you don't need another person to make you who you are. You can make yourself. You are totally capable and have the ability to do this. And if you're wondering what you do on a solo date, then just do whatever you do with others, whatever you enjoy. Certainly there are some group activities that you will enjoy only if you are with others, but there's tons of other things that you can explore by yourself. You can go to museums alone and admire art. You can go to a bookstore and look through all the new books, your favorite genre. You can go to movies by yourself, and I've done this. Like, I'm telling you, it is the most enjoyable experience ever. Like, it is the most powerful ever. Like, it is the hottest thing you can do to go out alone. Trust me, because I'm your bestie. You could go to a poetry class. You could journal. My favorite solo dates that I always long for is going out on a really nice outfit, put on a full glam, feel the most confident, listen to music while getting ready, and go to a new cafe to explore that I've always been wanting to cross off my list. Take my journal with me because I love journaling, and the importance of journaling goes hand in hand with solo dates. And I sit there and journal. I write and write and write about everything that's been going on, everything that's running through my head, and whatever it's worrying me, whatever I want to celebrate, whatever I want to achieve, just to pour all what's in my head into a piece of paper and feel free. It's such a good feeling, bestie. Like, you have to try it. And then I go on a bookstore and I just start reading different books and start exploring new arrivals and new books, and just makes me feel so good. I listen to my favorite playlists, and if it's really nice out, I would sit down on a picnic mat in a little park and start reading my current read, a book, or I'll go to another bookstore or another boutique or something and just keep looking at stuff and enjoy my existence. Why is it so important to do these activities alone? Is because you need to give yourself a break from everybody else. I want you to think of yourself like a little plant that you need to water every single day. And I know that you are so busy with your life, but you're the one who's doing this. Like you do owe yourself a break. Because you do deserve it. Like, don't feel bad about going out on a weekend. Don't feel bad about it because it is gonna recharge you. You're gonna be much more productive, and you're gonna be much more happier and much more peaceful when you actually go on that self-date and spend time alone and feel good about yourself, because you're never gonna know until you try it, you know? So this was your sign to go on a self-date and explore and admire how amazing you are as a person. And that's the end of my letter to you. XOXO, Yosra.